So every modern browser contains a set of tools which makes our lives as developers a lot easier. And we call these tools collectively developer tools, or for short, DevTools. And so in this lecture, let's learn how to use the Google Chrome DevTools. And let's give ourselves some more space here to start. And now there are 3 ways to open up the developer tools. So first, you can right-click anywhere on the page and then click Inspect or Inspect Element. So these are the DevTools, but let me first show you 2 other ways. The second way is to come here to the View menu, then Developer, and then here Developer Tools. All right. Or the third way is a shortcut on the keyboard, and that is Option Command or Option Control on Windows I. All right. And then we will want to come here to the very first tab, which says Elements. Just make this a bit bigger so you can actually see it. All right. So the first thing that we can see here in the Elements tab is the exact HTML that we wrote in our HTML document, right? So here we can open up each element by clicking on them, and then as we hover them, they actually get highlighted here on the page, which can be very helpful. So you see, for example, that our header is this entire box that we see highlighted here in blue, right? So that's this. Then the navigation is all this. And if we open it, then each of these links is just this very small box here. And they are sitting here side by side, as we can see, right? So that is the first thing that we can explore here. And then the second thing, and even more important, is the Style tab here on the left side. So here we can see all the styles that have been applied to a certain element. So let's go to the H1, for example, here. And then we can click it. And then here on the left side, all the styles that are currently applied to this element in our CSS file are displayed here. So we have this rule somewhere in our code, which sets the font to 26 and does all of this, right? Then we also have this rule somewhere which sets the color. And in fact, it is this one here, right? So this first one is this. Then here we get this one. And finally, there's also this one here, right? And so that is exactly this one. Okay. Now, maybe you had wondered before why the text here is actually bold in this H1 element. And the reason for that is basically the default style. So those default styles for the H1 are what are displayed here in this rule of the user agent style sheet. So that's just a fancy word for basically the default style. And down here, we can see that the font weight is set to bold by default. Okay, then this one here is something that we will learn about very soon. So don't worry about it for now. And then here, let's see, for example, these links. And so here is the code for them. So the CSS that we had applied to them already. So the color and the text decoration, right? But now what if we actually wanted to add some more styles here? So we could actually do that. So just for testing purposes, of course, we could now add a font size, let's say, of 30 pixels. And then immediately all the links on the page, so not just this one, but also this one and the other ones, all of them will now have the font size of 30 pixels. And to test that, we can then turn it on and off. And of course, we can also turn the other styles on and off simply by clicking here. All right. And of course, these values that we specify here, they will not affect the final website. So our code does not get changed if we do this. And we can prove that by very easily reload the page, and then everything is back to normal. All right. But let's actually explore links a little bit more, because there's something cool that we can do. So right now, there is only this CSS rule here applied. So only the one that has the link pseudo class. And that's because right now the link is not being hovered or it's not active. And so therefore the style for that does not apply. However, by clicking here, we can basically fake one of these states. So we can, for example, fake that the link is currently being hovered. So if we click here on hover, then you see that now this rule here is applying, because now A with the pseudo class hover does actually exist. So let's see that on the page, and the one that should have this state is the one that I actually have selected here. So this is the one that I selected, and so this is the one that now looks as if it is being hovered, even though it is not. And so this is great, so we can test our web page without actually having to manually go there and hover over the links. Okay, of course, we can do the same for this one here. And we could go ahead and search that here in the HTML tree, but I find it easier to simply right-click on the element that I want and then inspect. And so that then automatically moves there. So if I click on hover now, then it automatically becomes hover, even though it's not really. And the same, of course, for active. Right? So it's active, but we also want it to look like it's hovered at the same time, because usually when it's active, it is also hovered. But anyway, what matters is that now we have all these rules here applying in this moment. All right. But now let's turn it off again. And yeah, I think that's actually all I had to show you at this point. So we're going to use the DevTools all the time throughout the rest of the course, because these are absolutely essential to create a website in an efficient way. So I was actually really excited when I found out myself about these tools, and I hope you like them as well, and that you maybe go ahead and experiment around a little bit with this now. So you can just click on any element that you'd like and experiment maybe a little bit with turning these styles on and off, maybe adding some other ones, and really analyzing a bit what happens here with all these different rules being applied. So have some fun with that, and I see you soon in the next video.